quality and affordability is their hallmark.
Something must be done.
Here's a word you've probably never used before. Metanoia. I'll spell it. Metanoia. Metanoia. It's a noun and it means a total and fundamental change in views, beliefs, or character. It is often used in theology to mean repentance. In psychology, it refers to a complete breakdown and subsequent positive rebuilding or healing of the psyche. Metanoia originates from the Greek word metanoian, which is formed of two words, meta meaning change and noian, which means consciousness or mental perception. Here's how to use it in a sentence. I used to love sweets, but since I became diabetic, I have undergone a complete metanoia regarding what I eat and the substances I allow into my body. There you go. That, my dear friend, is how you say it right. Yeah, there you go. That's how you say it right. And I can see already Twitter is buzzing with air biscuits. Okay, so
let's get into the papers.
Let's see what's in the papers this morning. What have you got?
I've got the Chronicle, the Spear of the Nation, and starts with Proverbs chapter 29, verse 10. The bloodthirsty hate a man of integrity, and they seek the life of the upright. The verdict is finally out. Bloodthirsty Jammeh executed the 44 Ghanaians. The Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission recommends his prosecution and comes with a photograph of Yahya Jammeh, who's a former president of the Gambia. And also comes with a photograph of Martin Tre, who's the sole survivor of the Gambian massacre in 2005.
A lot of work done by Asila on that project. And thank goodness we now have something definitive by way of a verdict on that.
Exactly. And I mean, in 2012 at the time, I mean, the government of Gambia wanted to compensate Ghana. I mean, you know, they brought some bit of compensation. And so it was more like, I mean, it was known.
It's always been known.
It's always been known.
Yeah, it's always been known.
The Ashanti Patriots movement is on a destructive mission. John Boydu, he's been responding to Ashanti Patriots who've been, condemning the suspension of members believed to be, supporters of Alan Tremanting, who are being expelled from the party for declaring their support. And they've said other persons who have declared their support for Vice President Dr. Bawumia are not suffering similar fate, and they believe that the party should be fair. And John Boydu says this movement is on a destructive mission.
This is something to keep an eye on. Bearing in mind what we saw yesterday in the papers about this poll that supposedly puts Alan Tremanting ahead of Dr. Bawumia in the race for, to succeed Nana Akufo-Addo as flag bearer. That means that the dynamics in the party are quite intense and fraught. So this idea or suggestion of unfairness suddenly takes even more meaning than it normally would. And it's something for us to keep an eye on. Try and understand why people feel that, there is some unfair treatment of the two candidates and whether indeed that is the case.
Years ago, in 2014, then first vice chairman of the NPP, Freddie Blay, said some rules are better broken. When people openly declared support for Nana Akufo-Addo at the time, and he said some rules were better broken.
Better broken, I remember.
Look, the NPP at this point would want to ensure there's discipline in the party, would want to ensure things would go well. But the NPP must not lose sight of the fact that currently there are members of parliament, some members of parliament, who have openly said they support one of the candidates. Okay, so when it happens like that, and people will do this, I think the problem of the party was how in January 2021, they started talking about breaking the eight.
Yeah. It started very early.
What I think should be the case is that, for the president has indicated for all those persons who have interest in wanting to be president, they should resign. They should resign and go and campaign. But if someone declares support for a candidate, look, don't say, oh, I will suspend you from your position. Yes, you may want to say that's the rule and all of that. So, the party set rules, don't do this, don't do that. But 2008 is just how many years away? It was, just about 14 years ago. The NPP should think about that. I know that politics is a game of numbers. You want to instill discipline, but be careful how you do it.
Yeah.
When a group feels victimized, it will go a long way to come and haunt you.
We saw it happen in the 2020 elections, didn't we? So we have enough evidence of how a group can turn on itself, and the results will be in the polls, to your detriment. By the way, let's say a very quick good morning to one of our ardent listeners. This guy is always tuned in, Steve Patrick Asante, a.k.a. Guy Mills. I'm picking up, he might actually be an APSU, so let me give him some respect. Senior Steve Patrick Asante, a.k.a. Guy Mills. You see, can you hear his fans in the production room?
Okay.
The guys in production are screaming Guy Mills.
Okay. Let me get to the final one here that says, I don't demand bribes before issuing appointment letters. Ato Arthur, that's Nana Ato Arthur, who's head of the local government service. Back page, Black Stars in must-win game against Comoros.
Okay, I've got the Ghanaian Times. Economy not in distress. Finance Ministry denies Bloomberg report. Opuni goes to Supreme Court again to stop judge from sitting on case. Dr. Atterforsen to appear in court today over allegation of causing financial loss to the state. COVID-19 safety protocol defiance increases in Accra. Some residents make excuses for non-adherence. And I'm very interested to find out what people's excuses are. But there seems to be a global de-escalation of the whole COVID thing. I wonder what Ghana's position is. We've kind of been one of the more cautious countries throughout this pandemic. So I wonder where we are as we speak. Do or die for Stars as they battle Comoros tonight. And of course, at least one person in this room believes they will win. At least one.
We'll win.
At least one.
I believe. We'll win, don't worry. Let's be hopeful.
Yeah. By the way, that story about the economy not being in distress, according to the Finance Ministry, has a bit of detail in the center spread. It says, in spite of global challenges occasioned by COVID-19, the country does not face any imminent external imbalances or reserves shortfall, contrary to media reports. I want to read a direct quote. It says, despite the global challenges that exist on the back of the COVID-19 pandemic, and especially in emerging markets, with risks such as financial stress and sluggish progress on vaccination, as recently cited by the World Bank, the ministry would like to reassure all its investors that Ghana's fundamentals remain strong.
Well, I mean, you don't expect...
they quote their growth in quarter three.
Yes, I mean,
as an attestation of this fact.
Yeah, what we're talking about.
Oh, and GRA exceeded their targets.
Yes, what we're talking
2021.
About yesterday, Kojo, and that's the kind of response you expect from the Ministry of Finance. To be very honest with you, you wouldn't get any other response but this one, because we've talked about how the economy works, and sometimes you need this confidence in the economy. But that notwithstanding, in 2021, for instance, we agree that as a country, our primary balance was in deficit. So your primary balance is the measure of how, whether you are debt distressed or not. And this is how it is done. The primary balance says minus interest payments, your total revenue is able to take care of all your expenditure. If there's a surplus, it means you're not debt distressed. You're okay. If there's a deficit, it means you have a problem. We had a deficit in 2021. You may want to say, oh, that's COVID and all of that. But the reality is what you're faced with. Yes. The ministry says, the Bloomberg projection of a debt to GDP of 81%, 81.5% is not the right thing to go by. End of November, it was 78.4%. And the ministry says because December is normally the month where they get a lot of revenue, they do not think that the debt to GDP will go beyond 80%. Okay. Now, we need to also borrow in 2022 some 37 billion Ghana cedis. That's if we are able to raise the 100.5 billion that we intend raising. If we don't, then it means we may have to borrow more. That is, if we pass the e-levy bill into an act and are able to generate 6.9 billion. If we don't pass that bill, it means we may have to reduce our expenditure or probably borrow more to take care of it. So all these things would come in, and the point is the moment you find yourself in this kind of situation, look, the investors are also being very smart. If you're debt distressed, if you're coming to me, I give it to you at a higher interest rate. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
And so if you think that you cannot go to the international market, if you think that this is going to hurt you, you look at other sources. Under the circumstance, what other sources do you do? Others have talked about how we should not be considering new taxes. I have consistently talked about leakages at our points of entry. And I have made reference to the Ghana Revenue Authority's own letter written by a deputy commissioner of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Anthony Doku, in 2015.
He said how many billion?
36 billion estimated lost at the port.
Christ me.
I didn't script that. So 36 billion. Now, if you're telling me, for instance, that customs generated some 16 billion in 2021, okay, and that's how come we're able to exceed it. Now, this says as far back as 2015, 2014, we're losing 36 billion Ghana cedis. What do? One of the things you need to quickly do is to check these. Okay, one of the things you do is to check these leakages that have been identified long ago. And so when the president said at the time, when Dr. Bawumia and co said there was money in Ghana, they were right. If we do the right things, we will get the monies that we deserve. We'll come back to all of these things. Let me get to the
There's a
daily
lot
graphic.
to say, no
Yes,
doubt.
let me get to the daily graphic. Teacher unions raise red flags over new contact hours. They've been complaining about. That's a story you get on, page 13 of the daily graphic, and it will tell you. I saw the statement yesterday. They said they've not been were not contacted over, the semester system, and so the four unions, that's NAT, NAGRAT, Consent Teachers Association, and TEWU, they're calling on GES to consult them. Economic fundamentals strong, finance ministry. So that's what we've been talking about. Jabin Hinim presides over funeral rites for Dasibre Oti Boateng. And there's a one on page 28 that says Minister scales up STEM program in Bosumchi district. So it says that the Education Minister, Dr. Yawase Duchum, is not only leading the charge in the government's STEM educational program, but setting a personal example by sponsoring a total of 91 students within the Bosumchi district in Ashanti region to pursue science-related programs within 2 years. Now, the project, which started last year with 30 students, has scaled up to 61 this year, including 10 females, and 8 of the beneficiaries are pursuing medicine, and 62 are in engineering related. And this, as part of the minister's plan of creating a lot of engineers in his district and in the constituency. Back page, win or come home. That's what the Black Stars face.
Right then. So I have the Daily Statesman. And the banner headline this morning, 12 police officers for Bagbin. It is the highest ever for a speaker, according to the majority caucus. Okay.
Well, I've seen the statement from the majority. I've read it. We'll talk about it later. Yeah. I mean, they talk about the number of, security policemen that a speaker has, and that no speaker has ever had military. And
I am eternally baffled by the things that we can turn into, disagreements. Anyway, NPP cautions presidential hopefuls. 2 dead in brawl over marijuana. And on the front page, a story that I'm very interested in. IGP petitioned over murder of Ahmed Swale. Murder which is still yet to be solved. But the police have proved on many occasions that if they want to solve a crime, nothing stands in their way. So the IGP, the new IGP, Dr. Dampare, has been petitioned on the murder of Ahmed Swale, and it's the United Press for Development Network that did this. They held a walk over the weekend to commemorate the passing of Ahmed Swale, the killing of Ahmed Swale. They walked up the hill in Ibri, and of course they sent a statement to the IGP petitioning him on this. Let's pray that this somehow moves things forward faster than they have moved in the past. On the back page, Djokovic back in Serbia after Australia deportation over visa row. I don't know if you saw someone's attempt to take advantage of Djokovic's problems, and they did a poster that they were sharing on social media that says, when your visa fails, try MasterCard. Also on the back page, 2021 AFCON, Ghana coach Milovan Rayovac vows to fight to the end.
Well, the Economy Times government to raise 24.5 billion from money markets, so locally, and we're told that out of that, 20 billion would go into rollover maturing debts, and the 3.7 billion would be fresh issuance to meet government financing requirements. BOG receives $235 million at first foreign exchange auction. GNPC allegedly registers a new subsidiary in a tax haven country, according to ASEP, and government yields to pressure suspends benchmark value reversal indefinitely.
So, Pakojo Afol in Ashongman has sent you the definition of an air biscuit, but he doesn't have your number, it seems, so he sent it through to me. I'll forward it to you at the right time. Okay, I have the Finder newspaper. Students scared of extra expenses for hostels, living expenses due to UTAG strike. Obviously, it just means the semester will last a bit longer. So they're not happy about that. GRA rakes in 57.32 billion, exceeds target by 265.39 million. Yet somehow we are desperate for a new tax. If we are hitting targets, then what's the problem? $166 million Fufulso Sola Road deteriorates badly just after 6 years. Some of them deteriorate after 3 months. Odotobri Rural Bank grants scholarships to 59 students. I hope I've said that town's name right.
Odotobri.
Odotobri. There you go. Make GTDC a commercial company by 2024. This is Dr. Awal's call. Withdrawal of Bagbin's military detail not politically motivated. That's the majority's statement being quoted there on the front page of the Finder.
And finally, the Business and Financial Times 2021 revised economic growth target achievable. That's the 4.4%. Debt level sustainable despite Fitch downgrade. Finance Ministry. Digital reforms for necessary for building a vibrant economy. A new education reform replaces certificate with diploma. That's it for the Business and Financial Times.
I finally have the Daily Guide. Atoforson trial begins today. Okwe denies soldiers protection. Opuni trial adjourned to January 31 over fresh petition. Customs officer sues Captain Smart for 100 million Ghana cedis. Wow, that's a lot. And, Milo gives excuse for poor show. Gabon releases Aubameyang from AFCON. And Ministry rubbishes Stars 30K qualification bonus, brouhaha. Prudential announces AFCON deal. That does it for the Daily Guide.
Let's get to our online news review brought to us by Zenith Bank in your best interest, Goyle Good Energy, and Enterprise Life. No matter how much you make for a living, Enterprise Life has life solutions carefully crafted for you.
Quick
Enterprise, your advantage.
Indeed, your advantage. Quick one about Enterprise Insurance. Affiliate with Enterprise Insurance. Get free fuel coupons when you insure your motor vehicle with Enterprise Insurance. Renew your existing policy or buy a new motor insurance policy from Enterprise and get sorted with free fuel coupons and exciting souvenirs. Let Enterprise insure your vehicle during the season of giveaways. Call your insurance broker or agent on 0302 634 777. You can call Enterprise themselves. You can also download the Enterprise Advantage app on Play Store or App Store to purchase or renew your policy. Terms and conditions apply. Enterprise, your advantage.
Well, Gold has good news for you because Gold is rewarding its prepaying Gold Card customers with 2 pesos discount per liter on fuels. You also enjoy discounts on lubricants at Gold stations nationwide. So elevate your goodness by joining Gold Club today and enjoy up to 3 pesos per liter discount on fuel, amazing discount on lubricant purchases, free life insurance cover provided by My Life Insurance, accrue and contribute loyalty points to a social group to fund an approved CSR project, and above all, enjoy exclusive Gold branded campaign gifts. Join the Gold Club by visiting Gold stations or offices, Gold website registration.gold.com.gh, and all Gold social media platforms. Goyle Good Energy, Goyle Yaya Jim.
All right, some great stories on myjoyonline.com. Go check them out, including the one about a bald man decapitated in a ritual attack. But right now, it's time for the BBC News, brought to you by Fidelity Bank, believe with us, and Millennium Insurance, your trustworthy partner.